All right, let's jump straight into this. Today, we're unpacking the science and strategy behind a really interesting promotional campaign for a gut health supplement called SlimLeaf. Now, if you've been paying any attention to the wellness space lately, you know probiotics, prebiotics, and the microbiome are absolutely everywhere. So in this explainer, we're going to map out exactly what this specific breakthrough formulation actually claims to do, the specific ingredients they highlight, and the clever marketing structure they use to promise viewers that they'll finally feel like themselves again. It's a fascinating look at how modern supplements blend real nutritional science with compelling persuasion.
To really get why they designed this solution, we gotta look at how they frame the problem. I mean, you know the feeling, right? Hitting that brutal 2 p.m. wall, or dealing with that stubborn, unexplained bloating that just completely ruins your afternoon. The promotional material leans heavily into these everyday frustrations. But here's the twist. According to the presentation, scientists who've studied thousands of adults are pointing to a really surprising root cause. They hook the audience by suggesting that digestive issues, low energy, and just generally feeling off aren't just because of a bad diet or skipping the gym. Instead, they position all these common complaints as symptoms of a much deeper systemic imbalance.
And that brings us to the absolute core of their argument, the gut microbiome. This isn't just a trendy buzzword in their pitch, it's the entire foundation of the product. We're talking about trillions, literally trillions of bacteria living right now in your digestive tract. The presentation frames these little guys as a massive biological control center. You've probably heard researchers call the gut our second brain, right? Because it's heavily wired into our nervous system. The bacteria there are actively synthesizing neurotransmitters, breaking down food into usable energy, and regulating our immune responses. So the key takeaway they're making is that fixing your energy isn't about drinking more coffee, it's about restoring balance to this vital, living ecosystem inside you.
That specific need for a total reset is exactly where SlimLeaf enters the picture. The documentation makes a big point right out of the gate. This is a 100% natural formulation, and it's made right here in the USA inside an FDA-registered facility. By shouting out these manufacturing standards, they're clearly establishing trust and authority early on. It's explicitly positioned as a reset button for your gut. But what's actually inside it? Well, a huge chunk of the presentation is dedicated to breaking down this highly targeted formula, using specific scientific terms to really validate their claims.
When we actually break down the formula, it's pretty fascinating. SlimLeaf isn't just throwing random stuff together in a capsule, it's a super deliberate, synergistic blend. First off, you've got 500 million CFUs of a proprietary probiotic blend, which they say directly targets healthy metabolism and energy production. But here's the kicker. Probiotics actually need food to survive and colonize. That's why they added prebiotics into the mix, specifically 211 milligrams of chicory inulin and 100 milligrams of potato-resistant starch. They heavily highlight the potato starch because it literally resists digestion in the small intestine. It survives all the way to the large intestine just to feed those good bacteria. Presenting these exact milligram counts really helps anchor the product in clinical science.
Now here's where the marketing gets really strategic. They draw a hard line in the sand between SlimLeaf and your typical run-of-the-mill supplements. They basically create a villain out of the broader industry, claiming that most typical supplements use cheap filler strains that just get destroyed by stomach acid and fairy-dusted dosages that look good on a label but do nothing for your body. SlimLeaf, on the other hand, commits to clinically studied dosages, premium strains, and independent third-party lab testing. It's a clever way of telling the consumer, look, this is the difference between a cheap pill that dies in your stomach and one that actually survives the journey to heal your gut.
But despite all that complex science and clinical talk, the routine itself is incredibly straightforward. The instructions? Just take 1 capsule a day, drink an 8-ounce glass of water, and preferably do it with a meal. Boom, done. From an analytical standpoint, emphasizing this simplicity is such a smart move. They're intentionally removing all the friction for the buyer. They know that the absolute best supplement in the world won't work and won't get repeat buyers if it's a massive hassle to take every day. It's designed to just seamlessly slide into any morning routine.
To really drive these ingredient benefits home, the presentation shifts to real-world social proof. It's a classic, highly effective narrative technique. Take this verified buyer, Emily P. She specifically says no more afternoon bloating. It is totally by design that they highlight bloating first. It is such a common, incredibly frustrating physical pain point for millions of people. This carefully chosen review connects the hard science of the chicory inulin and probiotics straight to a tangible, emotional sigh of relief for the viewer.
Then we have this second testimonial, which brilliantly covers the other side of the coin. Jason M., another verified buyer, says, "My energy is through the roof." Think back to the very beginning of the pitch, where they hook the audience by linking the gut to hidden chronic fatigue. This quote closes that exact loop. The claim is that when you fix the microbiome, your body can finally produce energy the way it was naturally meant to. By highlighting this, they instantly broaden their target market way beyond just people with stomach aches. And then there's Cynthia D, who basically wraps the whole ideal experience up into one perfect quote. She says, "I love how easy it is to take, just one capsule a day and I'm good to go." And then she adds that her digestion has never felt better. This review ties back flawlessly to that simple step 1, 2, 3 routine we talked about earlier. It shows just how cohesive this whole presentation is, reinforcing the idea that you can get profound internal changes without totally upending your life. To back up those individual stories, the presentation drops a major flex, an impressive average rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars from thousands of customers. In the marketing world, this is a massive piece of social proof, and it completely drives consumer behavior. Because while one person's story is great, showing a 4.8 average across thousands of users tells the prospective buyer, hey, this isn't just a fluke. It signals that the formulation is actually working for a huge variety of different people and different microbiomes. Okay, so once they've established the problem, the science, and the social proof, the explainer shifts gears from education into pure logistics. They really focus your attention on a specific purchasing structure, calling it their ultimate value package, which is the 180-day or 6-bottle supply. Let's break down exactly why they set up their sales funnel to push this bulk purchase so hard. Check out this very specific statistic they throw out: 93%. They claim that 93% of customers choose to order the 6-bottle bundle right off the bat. Whether or not that exact number changes day to day, using it is a super powerful psychological anchor. It taps right into our natural herd mentality. And honestly, a little bit of FOMO. If almost everybody else is grabbing the 6-month supply, you naturally start to assume it must be the smartest, safest, and most logical move. A huge part of why that 6-bottle bundle is pushed so heavily is a tactic called value stacking. If you grab the 6-bottle option, they throw in 3 digital guides for free, which they value at over $200. You get the microbiome reset blueprint for lifestyle habits, the inflammation fix to tackle chronic issues, and the confidence protocol for your mindset. It's a totally holistic approach. By stacking these bonuses, they make the perceived value of the whole package skyrocket. You aren't just buying a bottle of pills, you're buying a complete wellness ecosystem.
And to perfectly validate this specific upsell, they feature a review from Sarah K., who specifically praises the pricing. She says, 6 bottles have the best value by far. I learned a lot from the bonuses as well. This is super clever. It reassures the skeptical viewer that those digital freebies aren't just marketing fluff. They're positioned as highly practical resources that perfectly complement the supplement, making the bulk buy feel like a really smart investment instead of just a big expense.
The math they present uses a textbook strategy called price anchoring. Early on, they establish a high retail price for a single bottle. But if you commit to the 6-bottle bundle, the price drops all the way down to just $49 a bottle. The total comes to $294, which means they can claim you instantly save $120 off the retail price. Oh, and they throw in free US shipping. By anchoring that high original price in your head, the heavily discounted bulk rate suddenly feels like an absolute steal for long-term gut support.
Of course, the creators know that asking someone to drop almost $300 on a supplement they haven't even tried yet is a pretty big ask. To crush that final bit of purchase hesitation, they use a massive risk reversal tactic. It's an ironclad, 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. They explicitly promise that if you aren't completely thrilled, they'll usually process your refund the very same day. By taking all the financial risk off your shoulders, it serves as an incredibly comforting way to close the deal.
To wrap things up, the promotional material leaves viewers with one final, very direct question. Are you ready to support your gut health and finally feel like yourself again? It's a really compelling mix of science, social proof, and value stacking. So whether or not you're in the market to jump into a marketing funnel like this, the whole explainer leaves us with a pretty wild thought to chew on. Just how much of our daily energy, our mood, and our overall vibe is actually being secretly controlled by that invisible bacterial ecosystem inside us. It's absolutely fascinating stuff. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.